all the way to Switzerland, and you're tuning into the Black House Fire Radio, and you're listening to Yes Massive. Andrew Robinson, your Jamaican brother there, reaching out to all the massive on the African continent, and you're tuning into the Pan-African Bliss Show with your host, none other than Joby, from Monday to Friday. Stay tuned. Andrew Robinson, love, respect, and justice for all. Big up, massive.
Bringing communities together around the world. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
I was born in the ghetto. I was fighting with these bitches and still at home. Made me love my ghetto. I was born in the ghetto. I was fighting with these bitches and still at home. Queen of the South, call me the mayor. Who she talking there to the max? I got a trainer. Got the power to make you go ghost like Rainer. They do it for free, I ain't asking no favor. I make Perry go tamer for that paper. I so bad like the Undertaker. Fuck that hater, I don't rate her. She's trying to throw me out, but she's got no paper. They ain't true lucky, man them on me. Cause I'm not city, I'm body. You understand? Walk one selfie, walk one cute thing. Shape or real outing. Ballet. The queen has entered, Jackie Sokale. Head of ballet. The queen has entered, Jackie Sokale. Baby, never ghetto. I was born in the ghetto. I was fighting with these bitches and still at home. Baby, never ghetto. I was born in the ghetto. I was fighting with these bitches and still at home. I cannot believe that you try to try it with me. Can't you see that he buy me shiny diamonds for free? Always looking sexy, baby, I'm looking clean. All these hating bitches, they ain't excited for me. Me, bitch, how dare you try to try it with me? When you know you're better than that, excited for me. The reason the fake is looking chill. Excuse me, bitch, I'm trying to sleep. Dobale. The queen has entered, Jackie Sokale.
Edobale. Yes, karibuni sana family. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Happy Thursday. Shabo with Dobale playing right here on the Blackout Fire Network radio station. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. Yes, good morning, good afternoon from my end. Whatever the time is on your end, karibu sana to another beautiful episode of the Pan-African Bliss Show. And of course, this is the media of the 21st century, the Blackout Fire Network radio station. Yes, you can find us on the Google Play Store, where we have our application over there. You can also join us officially through our website. And of course, stay connected with us.
I was born in the ghetto. I was fighting with these bitches.
Yes, that is Shabo. And of course, karibuni sana once again. That is Shabo with Dobale, one of my favorite jams of us. And of course, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. Happy Thursday one more time. It is exactly 15 minutes past 12 p.m. right here on my end. 10 minutes to 1 p.m. I don't know what's the time on your end. To all our amazing diaspora listeners, and of course to all our amazing 254 listeners, good afternoon. Karibuni sana. Shout out to everyone with us on Facebook, on YouTube, on the radio station itself, and of course those who are also going to catch this show on Spotify, and also those who are streaming live on our website on the show page, and also on Rumble Live. That is how literally we are everywhere like that. Karibuni sana. In case this is the first time right here, my name is Joby, and of course, guy, stay tuned till the end of the show, and of course, get to connect with me and give your sentiments regarding what we shall be talking about, which is about the West African countries, the 3 West African countries that we know have attained democracy. That is Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, which right now they are looking forward to form a joint force to fight jihadists. We've discussed a couple of things, amazing things that they actually We've discussed a couple of things, amazing things that they have actually done so far through the help of Russia and, of course, through unity, because we've discussed about how unity is one of the key roles that Africans and the continent itself. And these leaders, if we had really leaders, what they should be focusing on so that we can be able to develop our continent, or rather our countries. But, of course, this won't happen. And that's what we saw last week. The bloc of ECOWAS are calling out on Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, lying to them that we're going to withdraw the sanctions. That, of course, this comes with instructions. If only you do what we want you to do, that is when you're going to drop the sanctions. But I'm so glad Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso never paid any attention to this. They never actually even responded to this particular information, or rather, whatever the chief, rather the CEO of ECOWAS or the ECOWAS bloc, what they were demanding. And that is the movement we need to have. That is basically how the rest of the African countries should be moving forward. But that is our major focus of today. And of course, we shall also be discussing about Zimbabwe, which we've seen this week. Actually, it woke up into sanctions by the US. And we saw yesterday a couple of things happened, rather with this has been an ongoing thing since especially the Zimbabwe did claim their land back from the colonizers, which is also most of what African countries like South Africa, Kenya, and most of the colonized African countries are still battling even up to date. We've seen a video we shared on Monday last week where this Mzungu told us very clearly and which is a fact, we do not steal your resources. We do not steal your assets. It is your presidents who are actually part and parcel of all this selling out of your land and everything that you have as a continent. So we've seen that actually today Zimbabwe has come forth and it is condemning the fresh illegal, the sanction itself. And it says that this is fresh, illegal, and conceive, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So I shall be reading down the article on what is happening. I also talk about Niger, where we can see actually dozens of people are being kidnapped. The matters of security in Nigeria are literally, or rather insecurity, are literally getting so high, and Tinubu is there just taking a strip. And also we shall be discussing about Senegal, which has set its election date to be for 24th of March. And I'm happy to see this, but let's wait to see who's going to be selected as the next queen. And then last but not least, we shall also be talking about Kenya, where we see the opposition politician has actually challenged the deployment of the police officers in Haiti, which is one of the discussions we had today, this week, I mean, that was on Monday. And of course, want to check what Raila had to say, as much as we can see him vying for the chairman seat, that is for the AU bloc, the African Union bloc. I mean, we know what's up, but of course, that is our focus for today. And of course, we shall also be talking about cancer, which we've seen for so long. It's a debate and a lesson we've been learning. And some of us as Africans don't know that the relaxers we use on our hairs do cause cancer. Most of our people do not know this, the bleaching creams and all that. I'll be reading an article where we can see actually that Kenya or other Kenyans are getting informed not to use the relaxers because they actually do tend to cause brain cancers and a lot of diseases. But anyway, karibuni sana, that is our top discussions of today, and I hope you guys are doing great. We shall be getting back to the music one more time, and of course I'll be coming back with the quote of the day. So in case you have anything positive you want to share, kindly do feel free to share it right here with us. We do accept compliments, sentiments, and of course we want to stay positive all the way through. This is Bahati featuring Nadia Mokami, and of course hope you guys get to enjoy this. I'm a big fan of Bahati myself, and of course this is called Pete Yangu.
We still love our boy, in case you don't know. Still love our boy, oh no. Me still love our girl, in case you don't know. Sio kama yule dem, oh no. Na kama njiwa anavyopepea, roho yangu unailemea. Kasura pia nakunipokea, naona Mungu kakupendelea. Asikumbatie hadharani, unipea chumbani. When you go kwa juanjo kwenye hema. Wamekutesa sana mno chanda chema. Na wapambe wale wasiopenda mema. Wanatuombea vita CCM Chadema. Yani humoto hauzini na kwa maneno ya ulimi. Nishasadiki moyo kadupenda viwewe.
Yes, and my quote of today says, wishing you a Thursday filled with the blessings and hope and love, full of love. That is my quote of today. Yes, and of course, welcome back. Shout out to Self-Sufficient in the building. Shout out to Polyromaniac, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Gaming 88. Shout out to you. Shout out to Jack Paps in the building. And shout out to everyone also live with us on the Facebook page, on YouTube, on the radio station app itself, on the show page that is on our website, and also on Rumble. And those who shall catch this show also on Spotify. I hope you guys get to enjoy this amazing discussion right here coming from the African continent. Now, starting straight with the matters of the day, like I promised, I want to start with what is happening in Zimbabwe, because it has been one of the debates that has been trending, during this particular week, where we woke up after the weekend. We saw that Zimbabwe was hit with a very fresh sanction. And of course, this is not anything new, because I shared a video yesterday where in 2020, we had Zimbabweans demonstrating. And that was because of, all these sanctions, which are illegal. And today we're waking up to say that Zimbabwe has actually condemned this. And they are saying that Zimbabwe government has condemned fresh sanctions that the U.S. imposed against the countries and the country's president and senior official on Monday. The U.S. accused President Emerson Mnangagwa and others on its list of corruption and human rights and abuses. And pausing on that, we know why they are doing this. Of course, this goes back again to history, which Keith was trying to explain to us yesterday. We know that Zimbabwe did get its land back, and like I gave an example, we know so many African countries, and one of the biggest example is South Africa, where we know that the white farmers claim that is their land. We don't even have South African farmers. We only have white farmers. These people have claimed that land, and have even the audacity to claim, due to the fact that, my great-great-great-grandparents came here and colonized Africans. Is it my right to own this land? Hell no. It is not your right. Because most of the black people in South Africa and most of the black people in most African countries are going through oppression. And this is the main reason. Again, when you take us back to why Africans right now we're facing even understand seasons when it comes to food, is because we do not have that land to participate or put in skills and practices of farming, because where are the farms that we need to put these practices and skills onto? So we know actually they're being called corrupt, and they are abusing human rights because of the land. But they're adding that a spokesperson for President Mnangagwa, that was yesterday, said accusations were defamatory and gratuitations slander against Zimbabwe's leader and the people. And the new sanctions replaced a border program and introduced 2 decades ago. And the deputy chief secretary in President Mnangagwa's communication team, George Charamba, demanded the U.S. promptly to lift the illegal concave. I don't know how to pronounce that, but the measures. And he says, and I quote, "We condemn these malicious statements as completely uncalled for, defamatory, provocative, and a continuation of wanton hostilities against Zimbabwe and by the U.S. government." He also asked that we demand that the Biden administration provides evidence in support of these accusations, and failure to which the administration must, without any further delay, withdraw them unconditionally. It is so crazy. And again, when you see this kind of, if only we had unity. Shout out to Strength in the building. Good day to you too. Hope you're doing amazing. Nice to see you. I'm trying to literally construct your name. Like, who are you? But anyway, Karibu Sana, hope you're doing amazing. Shout out to you for streaming live via YouTube. So I'm saying that if only we had, let's say, the board of the African Union, which we know presents and stand for most of the African countries, actually generally the African continent, which is a fake bloc, because we need to underline that, the fake African Union bloc, which is not protecting nor serving the purpose of African people. If only it was real, when these kind of things happen, and which should not actually be happening, and should not be happening, because from the beginning we have the AU which will defend us, and from the beginning will not even be facing sanctions if the AU was really a true representatives of African countries and the continent itself, because we'll not be depending on these people. I don't know if my statements make sense, but if you understand what I'm saying, if only we really had true democracy as a continent, and so many African countries which we claim we have democracy and sovereignty, which we don't have. If only we had true democracy, when these kind of things happen, which again, like I'm saying, they would not be happening because we have true democracy, but because we have a fake democracy, we'll see African countries on and always being sanctioned for no reason. Like I questioned, what do we owe the US government and most of these foreign countries? What is it that we owe them? Why can't we talk about what they owe us? When will they ever mention and clarify that we came to Africa, we caused destruction, we butchered a lot of people, we stole artifacts, resources, and we're still doing it? As much as it is through the people and the puppets you've installed into power, you are still doing it. But it is crazy. But those are my thoughts regarding what is happening in Zimbabwe. And I'm glad to see actually the spokesperson, the president, calling these all accusations, all lies. And of course, which is true. We've seen this for so many times. Like when we had Uganda, when they said that they no longer want to identify themselves with the unknown culture that is not African, the LGBTQ agenda, which is to depopulate Africans, create diseases, and a whole lot more. We saw, again, the Biden administration did actually withdraw Uganda from AGOA, which is the act, I can't remember the full name, but it allows most of the African countries to transport food for free. And what do we benefit? How do we benefit? But on top of that, before I get to move on to the next, conversation, they also add that Mr. Charamba also called on the UN, the African Union, and South African Regional Bloc SADC to support Zimbabwe's call for the removal of the sanction. Of course, the UN, that is where we fail. You can't call on your enemy to help you fight your enemy. We need to understand that as a continent and the people of Africa. I'm certain Zimbabweans are very clever. Because we checked, I think it was, again, we checked the level of literacy in this country is very high, unlike most of the African countries. The level of literacy in this country is very, very high, unlike most of the African countries. So I actually personally decline and oppose when I see us still calling on the same enemies who are literally part of these sanctions, to come and help us. When you call on the UN, the AU, which is a fake organization, the SADC, it is all fake organizations, to come help you remove the sanctions, then you sound crazy. But they also add that Zimbabwe has also been critical of the way the US government lifted the old sanctions program on Monday, saying that Zimbabweans cannot be expected to be grateful for the measure. Mr. Charambia said that the ending of the sanction imposed in the early 2000s can never atone for, let alone write off, heinous crimes committed against Zimbabwe and her people. And those sanctions were targeted at the at then the president Robert Mugabe and dozens of other high-ranking government officials whom Washington accused of undermining democracy in the country. There was no democracy by then, and that is what Robert Mugabe tried to do. There was no democracy. And of course, this is why we see when you talk about true democracy and when you have a Pan-Africanist threatening the power of the West, because we've been discussing about how power respects power. But when Africans actually act and stand up to have power within or amongst themselves, this is a threat to the Western parts of the world, because this is actually a threat of their power, which they don't have. Without Africa, they don't have power. And that is one thing I think, again, we need to actually understand. Without Africa, the Western countries have no power. America has no power. China has no power. Asia has no power. Without the continent itself. And that's why we need to declare that we are the powerful people. As much as we act so weak, we don't know it, we are literally the ones powering the rest of the world. And that is what it is. And that's why we are so poor. That is why we're so poor. Because ask yourself, why is it that it is always Africa being sanctioned? Why wouldn't they sanction China? Why wouldn't they sanction Japan? Why wouldn't they sanction Dubai, Qatar, Saudi Arabia? Why is it that only African countries are the ones to face these sanctions? Why wouldn't they go attack or rather seek interest in these other Arabic countries or the Asian countries? Why just only in Africa that the interest is much looked upon? What is it that they want? We don't need help. That is one thing I know. We don't need help. So yes, they are threatened, because saying that this has been happening since Robert Mugabe, and they accused him of undermining democracy. What democracy? It is crazy. And that's what they continue doing. And they also add that the fresh measures block assets are held by the President Mnangagwa and the sanctioned officials in the U.S. and further barred them from an official travel there. Those on the list include the First Lady, Alexia Mnangagwa, Vice President, and the Defense Ministry, senior security official, and a business people found to have facilitated state corruption. And that is what is happening in Zimbabwe. And I'm glad to see that, they called out on the U.S. to withdraw these, sanctions, and for them to give evidence of whatever they are accusing them of. And we don't actually just need an evidence. And like I said, you can't call on the UN Zimbabwe. You can't call on the UN. You can't call on the AU fake organization. You can't call on the South Africa regional bloc to come and help you, because these are fake organizations. All you need is your people backing you up. And if only you had the rest of the African continent also backing you up, that is all you need. But we fail to drop the borders. We fail to understand that we're one people facing the same problem. And that is through the same people who have been installed into power. But that is what is happening in Zimbabwe, and it, of course, I'll be keeping you guys updated as we have been doing throughout the week to see what decision will the US make after this call from Zimbabwe for them to withdraw them from the sanctions that are ongoing. But moving on, but before I get to move on, I want to share a little bit a video before we get to talk about Senegal. Yesterday on the Africa Today show, I had promised to share the greatness of Kwame Nkrumah. And when you talk about unity, Pan-Africanism, this is one amongst the fathers of Pan-Africanism. What are some of the amazing deeds he had left behind? Let's check out.
Today we celebrate Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
My internet is acting up.
And Dr. Kwame Nkrumah lived an incredible life. Deemed the Osajifo, meaning the Redeemer in Akan, Kwame Nkrumah spent his whole life fighting tooth and nail for African liberation and unity. Here are a few things that you might not know about him. Kwame Nkrumah worked with multiple other Pan-African heads of state to kickstart the creation of a United States of Africa, a term popularized by his inspiration.
And that's how we start. If we add the Africa state, if you add the United States of Africa, if we really had a true organization called the African Union, Zimbabwe, or every time we see any African country being sanctioned, and again, we would not be facing any sanction because we are a state. We would not be facing any sanction because we are a state, because we are dependent on us. Having resources, having industrial companies over here, mining companies, processing companies, all those, if we had literally everything built and based in the continent itself, you'll not be facing any sanction. If you add your own currency, you'll not be facing any sanction. I mean, who do you need a loan from? Who do you need a loan from? You don't need a loan from anyone because you are dependent. So this is one of the things we know. And that is why we can see them being threatened by what Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso is doing. Because the moment the coups or revolution takes over, that is what Africans are going to create. One United States of Africa and one African currency. We won't need no kwacha, no shillings, no Shiafrique, and all this nonsense they are creating.
Marcus Garvey. He signed an accord with Ahmed Sékou Touré of Guinea and Modibo Keïta of Mali to create the Union of African States, aka the Ghana-Guinea-Mali Union. And while it didn't work out, Nkrumah never stopped trying. In 1960, he created a secret agreement with Patrice Lumumba of the Democratic Republic of Congo to unify Ghana and the DRC. Nkrumah's Ghana became a hub of militant action. Revolutionaries came from all over the continent and the diaspora for political education, and guerrillas flocked to Accra for military training. Through socialist planning, he built up the education and economy of Ghana more than any president that came after him. Under Nkrumah,
and I mean, excuse me, after that, I mean, what have we seen? Look at Ghana today. Look at Ghana today, one among the top indebted countries today in Africa. That is Ghana today. But we had Kwame Nkrumah who literally, introduced high education, built strong military, and did a lot of things. But none of these things are taught in school. None of these things are taught in school.
Ghana built dozens of factories and new industries, as well as multiple schools and universities. When he was overthrown by a CIA-backed coup in 1966, he was invited to
Nana Akufo-Addo's father.
Guinea by his old comrade and pal, Ahmed Sékou Touré. Kwame Nkrumah was so beloved in Guinea that he became the co-president of Guinea alongside Sékou Touré. That's right, Nkrumah became the first person in history to serve as president of two different countries during his lifetime. I bet they didn't teach you that in your school textbook.
Of course.
Kwame Nkrumah fought tooth and nail for the total liberation and unification of Africa under socialism. In his own words, quote, "Socialism and African unity are organically complementary."
And that is what we need. That is what we need. Unity. Let me share the last one before I get to give my sentence.
Was Kwame Nkrumah the father of Pan-Africanism in Africa?
Yeah.
Pan-Africanism is the idea that Africans have common interest and must unite.
Exactly. Pan-Africanism is the idea that Africa, we have common interest. I mean, we really understand that we have common interest and must unite. Common problems. We are being sanctioned. When you see Zimbabwe being sanctioned, we see Uganda being hit by sanctions. We see Nigeria being hit by sanctions. Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, DRC, Congo, Burundi. Oh, literally the whole continent. Apart from only Kagame. I mean, I've never seen Rwanda. You guys let us just be honest. Have you guys ever seen Rwanda being sanctioned? I've never seen Rwanda being sanctioned. Never, ever, ever. It's very rare. I think since I started my journalism career for the last 3 years, I've never reported any negative results or news coming from Rwanda. Why is that? What is special about this one African country that the rest of the African countries ain't special about? Oh, Kagame, the president, the despot, the dictator who has been here for years, has been benefiting the West, and his country is clean. That is why. And that's why I go back to Zimbabwe again a little bit from what we just began. When we see these sanctions happening, and if for a long time, and if we only had Pan-African leaders from the beginning, and if we had a true African Union bloc, and if we had one Africa called the United States of Africa, if we had nothing called the borders, tribalism, one African currency, we would not be facing any of these sanctions. But because we're so dependent on the IMF, the World Bank, this is why we're facing sanctions. And this is why you see actually Zimbabwe cannot call on Kenya, Rwanda, cannot actually say that I need all the African countries coming and joining hands to help us call out on the US for lying and giving us false accusations of abusing human rights and corruption. But because you understand so well that you're all selected puppets, all you gotta do is call on the UN, the fake UN, you call on the AU, the fake AU, and you call on the South African Regional Bloc, which is also a fake bloc. So we need to understand we are one people as a continent. Our interests are common, and we must unite.
While studying in the US, Nkrumah was influenced by people with kindred ideas such as Marcus Garvey, Du Bois, and other black intellectuals. When he moved to the UK, he joined an anti-colonialist organization and began writing papers arguing for African independence. He then helped organize the 5th Pan-African Congress, a major event in the 20th century. When he became Ghana's first president, in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, he built alliances with other African leaders. This led to the creation of the Union of African States, which included Ghana, Mali, and Guinea. He was also one of the founders of the OAU, the Organization of African Unity, whose goal was to promote...
where is that today? Where is that today? Today we have the African Union itself, which is very fake. Where is that today? The formation of this, it began as an ideal of... The reason why they created the organization of... or the African Union organization was to literally work on the interests of the African people and the interests of the continent of Africa. But where are we today? Totally something very different from what the creation of it was all about.
Promotes integration and solidarity amongst African states. It is now known as the African Union. Nkrumah was the first African leader to campaign wholeheartedly for a United States of Africa. And all that makes him the father of Pan-Africanism in Africa.
Period. That is what's up. I wanted to share that because we need to understand a little bit of history and what we're dealing with today, and why we are facing so many struggles as Africans is because when we have such leaders, they were assassinated through the help of their own people, and that is why when you look at Niger and Mali, Burkina Faso today, which so far right now have attained true democracy, and why we keep on advocating for them to be actually very aware of their surrounding, the people who they have backing them up in power, because it could take a friend to just assassinate you. It could take a friend to just get you out of the seat, and we go back to the fake democracy, because they don't want the true democracy. And that's why I'm saying this week we've been literally, and shout out to Keith for him saying that power does not respect weakness. But it's a high time as a continent to realize we are the power. We black people, no matter where we are. When we see these other effed up races, the Asians, the Indians, the whites, they are threatened by us because they know what's up. They know without us, they are not surviving. And it's enough of us being told, oh, Africa, we are not weak, actually. We have all the resources. We are feeding the rest of the world. So you come talk to me about weakness. The only difference is that you lie to me in education, and that's why my mind might be super dumb, but I'm waking up. And that is also a threat to them right now. One thing I love about this, one thing I always love and laugh about is they thought maybe bringing the phones, and I always love talking about it. They thought bringing the phones, bringing the internet is gonna actually be a massive distraction, keep us way more dumber and all that. But actually they had no idea that this is one of the ways of waking up Africans, making Africans connect, communicate, unite. Because through the Blackout Fire Network, I know Strength right now from Jamaica, a Jamaican from Philly. Shout out to you. I love me Jamaicans. I hope to find a husband there. I'm hoping. I'm hoping, but nice to see you. I know Jiba Jaba, I know John Mosquito, K. Williams, Big Cheese. I am connecting with Maria in Uganda. And that is what they have been literally fighting for years, to ensure that the Black people in diaspora and the African people in the continent will not unite, because they know what threat this comes with. Power. And that's on period. Power. And the moment we understand that we as people, as the people of the continent, especially with being the majority, that is where we're gonna beat them up. That is how we defeat them. That is how. I'd love to see these people also running away from for their lives the way we keep on running away for our lives, no matter where we are. These people, everywhere they go, they're very privileged. It's a high time we make them being scared of coming here. We can't keep on being welcoming. We need to call them the monkeys. Enough of them claiming now they don't know who they are. You know? There's this quote that say, I don't know if it's a quote, but a saying, they always say that one will always push their insecurities on you because it's who they are. I mean, it's who they are. So that's why they call us monkeys, all types of names, because it's who they are genetically. They are created from animal genetics. So you're someone, shit. But anyway, that is what is happening in Zimbabwe. And of course, I hope, that being said, African countries, and especially the people, because we can't wait and call on these puppets to come help us. We need to understand. You cannot call on the UN, the fake African Union, to come help you, call out on the US. The same enemy you're calling on is helping your enemy impose sanctions in your country. And pinning on false accusations because it favors their narrative. The moment we understand we need to unite, the moment we understand the only way we can defeat these people is through unity, then we conquer it all. Because today would help countries and would back up countries like Ghana, Uganda, when they say we do not want. And this would not even be a discussion again. Let me tell you, I'm discussing it, but thinking about it again, when you talk about the United States of Africa, and us dropping the borders, tribalism and all that, and having an Afrocentric education, and then having one currency, having mining industries right here, our own companies, not Chinese company based in DRC Congo, which is accused of child labor, and then they say, oh, this is not true. But you're making billions and trillions of money out of me, out of these children. If we had the United States of Africa, none of these debates would actually be a debate. We'll not be talking about LGBTQ, which is a waste of time. We'll not be discussing about the IMF threatening Ghana to lose 3.8 billion because we said no to a culture we don't want, which is your culture, because you're an animal. We'll not be talking about us being in debt. We'll not be talking about us, how can we create development? Because being a state and understanding all of us need it equally, would make things easier and would be beneficial to everyone without anyone being called greedy or any sort of name. It's crazy, But let me know what are your thoughts regarding this for those who are just tuning in. Shout out to everyone with me on TikTok. Shout out to everyone with us on Facebook, on YouTube, on the radio station itself, and also on the show page and on Rumble Live. Let me know what are your thoughts regarding this. But shout out to you, Jiba Jaba, once again. I see Strength, you're saying that what? Nana dad was the traitor. Yeah, I remember that is what Keith was telling me yesterday, if I'm not wrong. He was not really, I don't know if he was the traitor, but he was the one who was installed into power, I think, after. Either he was the traitor or he was installed in power after Kwame Nkrumah's death. I believe so, and I hope so. And shout out to you, Jiba Jaba, once again. You're saying that it's the CIA's baby. That's why I didn't get that correctly. It's the CIA's baby. That's why I didn't understand that. Kindly elaborate it for me. And just saying that the rest of the world see you as black, not a tribe. Exactly. The moment we understand that, and it's funny, I don't know how we Africans don't even copy and paste it to them. Nobody questions these people when they come here. Hey, which tribe in China are you from? Which tribe in America are you from, you being white? Which tribe in India are you from? Nobody poses that question to these crackers or to the white people. Nobody poses the question to these white people. We just welcome them. We keep on feeding them. We teach them our culture. And we think this is a norm. It's only a norm to us. It's not a norm to them. You're not gonna go to China and they're gonna teach you this is how we speak Ni Hao. This is how we cook Ni Hao and all that they talk. You're not going to go to the white supremacy and they teach you, hey, this is how you hold a gun. They're going to hold a gun for you. At you. And I also see Jabadaba say that I wasn't taught this growing up. Thanks, Joby. Exactly. Most of us and all of us are not taught this. Miseducation. And it's on purpose. And understanding this, and if only the rest of us can understand this, especially in the continent, it would be so beneficial for us, especially uniting with the African Americans in diaspora and all that. It would be so beautiful. Trust me. Very amazing. Shout out to you, John Mosquito. Karibu sana. Niko salama, wewe ambaje. Jambo, habari, amani, what's up? I'm good. How are you doing? Nice to see you today. Hope you're doing great. And of course, welcome to today's conversation. But yes, as we move on, Jibadab also says that when two of us gather, there is always a mzungu that pokes the nose into interfere. I agree with you. And I also see Strength was saying that's crazy, bro. Small world. It is crazy. You guys know each other. I don't know if you guys know each other, but anyway, nice to see you. And Jiba Jaba was saying that yep, climate change to bogus. Yeah, climate change. That's how they're grabbing lands. I've realized that they're using the climate change nonsense to keep on grabbing lands, especially in the continent of Africa. And Jiba Jaba also says that we are all in the same boat. Let's plug the holes. Exactly. And I also see you saying, but we are getting there. I agree with you, Strength. I agree with you. We are getting there. But like Kid says it, I want to quote him. We have a bunch of morons. I'm not going to lie. We do have a bunch of morons in the continent who are still stuck in religion. And I don't blame them. Because it also took me time to understand what religion is, what we were being fed, what energy, who are we serving and giving our energy. It's going to take time, of course, for people to get there. And I am a patient person. I'm a Sagittarius, so we are patient. You know, we are patient, I bet, and I hope. We are patient people, and I know majority of us are also patient, you know, very patient on waiting to see the rest of our youths waking up, you know. I'm patient personally, but again, you just look at some people, you're like, man, I'm fed up. I'm fed up. I can't. Your mindset, I can't. Personally, nowadays, I can't. There's just a bunch of people I can't sit with anymore like I used to. I enjoy the company of myself. I enjoy the company with my workmates, and that's it. My circle is that small, like literally. I don't think I even have friends anymore. I don't think I do. Because I refuse to be the majority. I want to be the minority. I want to be walking with a bunch of morons. You know, I don't want to. I choose to be different. And that's what's up. And I also see you saying, Jiba Jabba, that Rwanda is the CI baby, the Nas Kagame. Exactly. I agree with you. Because, I mean, think about it. If you think about it, it's very rare you hear us reporting any information coming from Rwanda. It's rare. And I mean, I understand the restrictions is kept in the country, especially when it comes to the media. That is to silence the people, of course, one. He doesn't want to be called out for what he's doing. We see he's going to go all the way to South Africa to just find a journalist who said something against him and end up killing them or sending CIAs to them. And then I pose the question, it's crazy how you are president. You can have a whole CIA go against or after a journalist, but you as a president or as the president of Africa, you fail to have your own CIA to spy on who is coming in the country to check on you. You know, it is crazy and doesn't make sense at all. And very child mind-like type of leadership. Jibba Jabba also says that ain't no blonde hair in heaven. We are gods on earth. Period, man. Period, man. That was my mindset. I was like, blonde hair, white gowns, you know, I'll be flying with them wings and all that. Like, yeah. And I'll have a whole gold home, a home full of gold, because they told you all the wealth is in the kingdom of heaven, you know. You don't need the wealth here on earth and all that. The kingdom is in heaven. I used to waste my tears, especially when I was in my sad moments and still facing my traumas, crying with that mentality of the more I cry, the more the gold, the more the gold is literally building up my room in heaven. Not understanding that they are literally telling us that the wealth is being stolen here. All the gold is here. It's just being stolen. It's just that you don't get access to it. But I do. If I want gold, I can go to my home. Trust me. By that, I think I will. If I want gold, I just go to... And then, understanding that our people are not taught the value of resources, I can go there and get probably a good amount of gold with some petty money. Trust me. Petty money. And I say petty money is because most of the people who are mining in these mining sites are also drunkards, majority, deadbeat dads, and not men of family. It's just men who are grinding to, and especially understanding the majority of them have farms over there, especially in the western parts of Kenya. These are people who have their own compound, they have their own lands, so they are very active in farming. Food is not a problem, so they don't worry about, oh, I need to go buy ugali flour, buy this. The only thing you need to buy is probably tomatoes, which you can also plant in your garden if you know how. Personally, I know how to plant tomatoes. That was one of my agricultural fun activities that I loved doing growing up. It was really, really fun because I loved eating tomatoes a lot. You know, so I used to plant them, eat them, then plant them myself. But yeah, it is crazy. Also, Sister says that that's how it is getting. I started pulling back from the social media. Exactly. You need to. You know, I broke my phone. I showed you guys yesterday. It's not even functioning that well anymore. But I even posed that question to myself. I'm like, why do I even need, why am I even worried about a phone when I don't even use it that much? I don't even use it that much. I pulled down almost all my pictures on my Instagram page, all of them. I'm like, yo, I can't keep up with this posting bullshit. You know, I'm gonna do something creative, not just because people are doing it. Yeah. And Jiba Jaba says that I'm the same. My friend is in the mirror and my wife. That's period. And that's all you need to see. Personally, just hang out with our video editor and HR. That is literally my circle, especially during the weekends. I'm always just with two people or probably alone. Most of the times. That has been my life, I think, for the last 1 year. Yeah, dropped friendships, dropped a lot. And you come realize, especially when you stop spending on people, or stop being in the, going with the majority's decision, you come realize you're really working with a bunch of fake people. And you don't need to be amongst the bunch of fake people, bunch of morons and all that. But yes, as we move on, I want to talk about Nigeria, like I said earlier. And of course, the matters of insecurity or security in Nigeria have been getting way worse. We've been seeing abductions left, right, and center. And as have we seen Nana Akufo-Addo speaking about this after only, that was I think 3 weeks ago, where he said he said the people of Nigeria need to be taught how to tackle. He said the people of Nigeria need to be taught how to tackle goons and all these jihadists. That was Tinubu, and as he speaks at that point, he was in Europe, for a visit of how to develop and deal with the country's crisis. But yeah, they're saying that dozens of displaced people are feared to have been abducted by Boko Haram jihadists in northern eastern parts of Nigeria. And the victims were mostly women who lived in a camp in Gamborungala town after fleeing their homes because of attacks by the insurgents. The local people were the ones giving this information. The abductions occurred when the group went to collect firewood to cook or sell, they added, and the United Nations again condemned the reported kidnapping and called off for the unconditional release of abductees. And Mohammed Malik Fall, the UN's resident and humanitarian coordinator, said that while the exact number is unknown, it estimates more than 200 people were abducted. And he said in a statement that on Wednesday, which is yesterday, that the incident was a task reminder that women and girls are among those who are most affected by these jihadists. While sympathizing with the families of the victims, Mr. Fall urged authorities to provide more livelihoods opportunities for displaced persons in camps to reduce the risks they face. The largest mass abduction by Boko Haram occurred when more than 270 schoolgirls were seized from the dormitory in Chibok town and also in northern eastern Borno state. That was in 2014. And of course, we've been seeing they have been releasing these girls one by one. Most of them, or two of them, they release either one or two. Most of them have come back when they are moms. They have children. They are all grown up because you were just abducted from a school. Then now you're coming back a mom. These women and girls go ahead there and they are raped. They are tortured. I remember the latest, that was last week, but the latest kidnappings in Nigeria, one of them was released, say that they are being tortured by snakes. They're using snakes to torment them so that they can get either ransoms or whatever the abduction is all about. But the question is posed to the president again. How is it that you can spend billions of money to get bulletproof cars and a yacht for your wife? Because remember that was last year towards the end of the year where we had Tinubu saying that, he needs a yacht and a bulletproof car for his wife. You're spending billions of money, but you won't spend billions of money to create a strong military group that can literally be able to deal with these insecurity matters. But of course, I understand you want to do it because you've been actually a whole chairperson of the ECOWAS bloc, who is actually calling on Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger to withdraw from their power. It makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, how many days again has he spent outside? 94 days outside the continent of Africa. That is since he was selected as a president, because he was not chosen by the people. Tinubu was selected, like most of our African presidents. It's been, I think, only 3 months. I'm not sure when did let me see when Nigeria held its election, when Tinubu was installed in power. When did Nigeria hold its last elections? That was in 2023 February. So it's been a year. Okay. Damn, it's been a year already. God damn, that was quick. All right, that was so quick. A year already. Wow. All right. Yeah. Okay. It's been a year already since he got into power. But there's nothing is done for the country and the people. Actually, we've been seeing for the last 1 year, we've been having demonstrations from the people, nurses, doctors, calling him to literally reduce the cost of living. We've seen recently there was a stampede in one of these local places where we had distribution of food, and people ended up being taken to the hospital because of the fatalities that did occur over there, and the injuries because of the stampede. And the stampede is because we had some people from the government giving away free rice, and this is after Nigeria and the locals say that they have to go all the way to eat the dirty rice that we throw away as a means and ways of surviving, because again the local market has been destroyed by the same government that is making the cost of living very high. So the question is posed to this system, which has failed to do a goddamn thing for the people. And I remember there's a time I reported about Buhari, the last president of Nigeria before Tinubu, where we saw there was some girls who were kidnapped in a near place, which doesn't make sense to me even up to date. We saw some girls who were kidnapped in a place where Buhari was in a vacation. Where the president is visiting is the most secure place. How is it that just a few minutes, a few distance walk, people get kidnapped where the president is chilling? It didn't make sense to me. And that's why you understand that this is actually all on purpose. They know what they are doing. And the disappearance of also our African people, we know who it serves best. You don't need to get to that. The children, the women. I mean, when they're telling you, can I take away your ovaries? What? God damn. It's crazy. It must be tough over there. But of course, I wish peace on this particular country. But it's going to be impossible if we're not able to create our own strong military groups, like what now Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are about to do to fight the jihadists. And that is what the rest of the African countries should do. Like I said, if we add the United States of Africa, from the beginning, once we understand that our interests are common, we're not going to be facing all of these problems. That is what is happening in Nigeria. But moving forward, I want to talk about Senegal, which is also part of our discussion today, where we can see actually Senegal is supposed to be holding its election. That is on 24th of March. Remember that they had a secret attempted coup which failed, and this actually created a lot of distractions in the country, where we saw the president saying that he's going to withdraw actually from his seat. He was supposed to do this by 2nd of April, and this was actually before the dates were set for elections, because they had set the date of elections that was on 15th of March, December this year. Then we had the High Court, which came out and said that this is actually illegal. It is not constitutional. You cannot push elections that far while people are demanding and waiting for a change. So yes, they can see that they have set a date. They're saying that Senegal did yesterday announce that a delayed presidential election will be held on March 24th after a top court ruled that the proposal to hold the vote after April 2nd was unconstitutional. First, they said the 15th December was unconstitutional, and they said also the April one is unconstitutional. President Macky Sall's mandate expires on 2nd April, and originally scheduled for February 25th. President Sall called for the exercise, citing electoral disputes, and he was immediately accused by the opposition for seeking to carry out a coup. And his proposal to hold the elections in December was the subject of deadly protests, which rocked Senegal's reputation as West Africa's most stable democracy. A proposal from a Nation Dialogue Commission for the vote to be held on June 2nd was rejected by the Constitutional Court. And also yesterday, President Sall discovered the government. President Sall dissolved the government and replaced Prime Minister, and the president was the one giving this information. So I'm glad to see that they have finally settled with a date to hold their election. But the question is, are we going to see change in this particular country? You know, we don't need no more elections. We just need coups. That's what's up. We don't need no elections, selections. We need coups. That is what we need. We need coups. We need revolution. We need coups and revolution. That is the only way Africa we can attain independency. That is the only way we can become independent. The rest of these made up, organizations, they're all fake and all that. And it is crazy. But yeah, I'm waiting to see who's going to become the next puppet. I can't wait to see who's going to become the next puppet after President Sall, Macky Sall. We are here to observe and wait. Rather wait and see. But moving on again, like I promised, I also want to talk about Kenya. And this is something, an article that has been released regarding the hair relaxers. Kid for so long has been teaching us here. Remember the first shock I ever got when I was still new? It was about the sunscreen, which is also, let me see if I can find that video, which is actually something I see also Africans learning about. So let me share this very quickly. It's been very hot. That was for the past few weeks in Kenya. It was very, very hot. And one of the questions posed is, how are Kenyans dealing with this, with the hot sun? And should Black people wear sunscreen? That was the question.
A walk in the streets of Nairobi leaves you sun-kissed to the point you're dripping with sweat. Not so romantic, right? So how are the Nairobians dealing with the heat? By doing what they do best, creating memes on social media. The serious folks, though, are applying some sunscreen. However, they are in the minority.
No, I don't use sunscreen. Perfectly natural, so my skin tone does not allow the sunscreen.
Yes, I use sunscreen, but I don't use it most time. I feel like I used it time back. I can't remember the last time I used it, because I am an African and my skin is melanin, and I believe I have a strong skin.
It's thought
you do, and you should not actually. You should not even say most time. You should not at all use sunscreen. So I do remember. That was on 2021. Then Keith made me pull a video. I can't remember the video correctly, but Keith made me pull up a video of it showing the worms we have on the sunscreen. Worms, literally worms. And I was terrified because I remember at that time I was using sunscreen a lot. Like it had become like part of my thing, part of my, makeup routine and all, my day-to-day and all that. So the moment I realized that, trust me, I went home and threw it away. I was like, hell no. But Africans, do we understand that these are chemicals that are causing diseases in our bodies?
only a third of Blacks protect themselves against harmful UV rays. And that's bad news when we know the sun can be dangerous for everyone. So why do so few?
It's not dangerous. Why do people believe the sun is dangerous? That is something I grew up with a lot as well. I don't know how many of you did. And that is also another notion and narrative that has always favored the white man, where they want to keep on telling us that the sun is bad for us. As Africans, and again, we've been taught we do need the sun. We do need the sun. We do need the sun.
Who actually look after their skin. Well, we've all heard the phrase black don't crack.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's become a deep-seated in modern society.
Me.
I say modern because our African ancestors knew about sun damage long ago and used their own natural sunscreens. But nowadays, even doctors pay less attention to potential UV skin problems in black patients than whites. And if you take a look at sunscreen adverts, you'll see manufacturers have always geared advertising towards lighter skin tones. Little wonder then many still think dark skin and high melanin levels keep you safe in the blazing sun. But it's just not true. So when you've got a funny weather meme on your mind, also make sure you've got some sun lotion on your skin. It's no laughing matter.
It's a lie. I don't know what she means, but I believe your skin. Personally, I have nothing here. Someone was asking me the other day. I think there was someone who posed the question, "What do I use for my skin?" Coconut oil only. Trust me, my budget is that cheap. I'm just a cheap girlfriend if I'm to have a boyfriend. I'm not gonna be demanding no lotion, no nothing. I don't require any of that. Personally, they don't work for me. The moment I start, or if I try using any lotion, my skin is damaged. It is damaged. I use Aramis and coconut oil. Those are my products. I don't do extra or less than that. But there's an article that I bumped into today, and which is actually discussing or educating Africans in general about relaxers causing brain cancer. And I want to read it out to you before I get to wind up, because there's another show by Kamlesh, so you guys tune in on the network. It shall be aired on the network. It's the Blackout Fire Network Countdown show, and where we have new music being played, and you can be able to vote which is among, before the end of the week, rather at the end of the week, which is your favorite top song that you think should be ranked number one. But yeah, they're saying that researchers at Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, have discovered formaldehyde, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, kindly. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, pardon me. English, not my term. But anyway, yeah, it's a harmful neurotoxin that can cause brain cancer and impair memory in hair relaxers widely used in the country. Cambridge toxicology report shows that at least eight hair relaxers are effective. However, the researchers did not name the brands in the report. I can name them, but I don't want to give them the clout, of course. But I know them. I know them very well, because I remember a long time ago, and I've been saying this for a while. Personally, my mom, she did use the hair relaxers on me. That was I was at the age of 12, 11, and it shaved my hair. Like I really was so mad, because I really had a beautiful long hair. I understand she didn't know, but from then she was like, this is not your thing. I cannot use this on you ever again. It chopped off my hair. I began, and I think that's why I got because you find that sometimes personally my hair just starts, like I'll just start, even if I also use any products that I've never used before, or in any chance if my salonist tends to change the products that she uses on me and uses something different, I'll end up like having a very serious headache. I'll literally be scratching my head till it's bloody. That's how bad it gets. Like there's a time I really wanted to shave my hair, because I was really scratching my head till, the moment I'm looking at my hands, it's all blood in that, and wounds being formed in my head. So it was really getting me so mad. So I don't like when my salonists change the products. I've even told them, like, don't change no products for me. If you want me to continue coming here, just use the same thing you've started with, and if that is impossible, tell me. I can buy my own products that I know will favor me, But yeah, so they're saying that 75% were manufactured in Kenya, and and 2, which is 25% in Uganda and South Africa, representatively 62% were labeled for professional use only, and some 11 different chemicals of concern were identified in the 8 hair relaxers. In particular, petrolatum and sodium hydroxide were present in 100% and 85% of the relaxer products, while the relaxers from same manufacturers contained both English whatever, and all those chemicals. So in general, what they're saying is that the chemicals we use for our hair are not good. I don't care if it is 6% or 11% or whatever percentage they're saying. All of them, they're not good. Even the dyes. Personally, I remember there's a time I really loved, especially in high school, I loved dyeing my hair brown because it was so hard for teachers to notice I had dye on my hair. So I loved dyeing my hair brown because they used to assume that's my hair color. So it got to a point when we closed school, I changed the colors. Like I could do black because I love my hair either in brown or in black, like dark black. So there's a time I used to change them a lot, like, change the colors, then it became effective to me. It was part of me scratching my head, it being bloody, I'm having wounds and all that, so I stopped. I'm not a fan of dyes. Personally, I'm not a fan because I know the aftermath effect of it. I'm gonna be feeling, my head is gonna be itchy, I'm not gonna be okay, and I'm gonna have headaches, actually, very bad headaches out of nowhere, but because of the chemicals. Shout out to you for Kashmani, nice to see you, hope you're doing amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in, and shout out to Pyromaniac Gaming, who's also back here with us, and John Mosquito. And they're saying that the investigations focused on Embu County and was prompted by an increase in cancer cases there. However, the brands tested are widely used in other parts of the country, particularly in Nairobi. The Cambridge study is linked to another conducted in the United States and Ghana, which found evidence that the use of certain personal care products and hair products such as permanent hair dyes and chemical relaxers increase the risk of breast cancer. You see? So personally, I noticed long time ago, because when I was using the dye, I could feel like, later I'm having, it's not really a headache. You feel like there's some pain pressing you, It's like a pain pressing your head. So it used to be very uncomfortable for me, and I stopped completely. I don't use dyes. And if I do, probably maybe I have an occasion. I need to dye my hair black, which I do just black color. I only dyed my hair blonde the time I shaved, if you guys can remember, when I had my hair very short. That is the only time I dyed my hair. Ever since, I don't like it. I don't play with that shit anymore. I don't play with this anymore. I'm very conscious of what I put on my body. So they're also adding that a total of 366 women aged 15 to 50, goddamn, consented to and were enrolled in a questionnaire based on a study that assessed participants and socio-demographic characteristics used of air products and other PCPs for 7 to 14 days, and use the hair dyes and chemical relaxers. They then purchased 8 hair relaxers, reviewed the information on the labels, and recorded the strength of the relaxer and the list of the ingredients and the manufacturer and the location and other labeled claims. And they also say that we then compared the list of the ingredients and did our research, and the researchers concluded that, and I quote, our analysis documented relaxant contain COCs that should not be used in PCPs. Literally, in general, and I don't want to go with the whole article just as I get to the major focus of the day, because I've literally taken my time here so much, and I don't want to stop, man. I don't want to stop, but yeah. It is dangerous, and the black people, I hope they're learning, especially the women, because we don't listen. We don't listen. You know, I know you want to look good. You want to have that muzungu hair, because the relaxers, basically, the why they are brought is for us to hate our hair. That was the main reason. They brought these chemical relaxers, the dyes, for us to hate our own hair. Literally, promotion of self-hate towards black people. That is what they do. I want you to hate yourself. I want you to look at the mzungu's hair and be like, yo, I want mine also chilling. You know, I want it, you know, all slimy. It is crazy. So I hope, with that being said, especially to most of the African countries, I'd say Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Congo, I'm not sure about Uganda, Tanzania. I believe those are actually my top 5 countries that should be very well educated about this. Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, and DRC Congo. Because we have people bleaching there, not understanding the effects of the chemicals. Then years later, you have cancer. You're like, what's up? What's happening? What's going on? Yeah. You did damage to yourself. You did. But to the major focus of the day, I don't know if there's anything I've left pending that is about Haiti, which we shall be discussing probably later. That was the one among the topics I also had for you. But I've talked about Nigeria, Zimbabwe. I've spoken about Senegal, Kenya, where we see the research of what is happening. I've shared a couple of videos regarding Kwame Nkrumah and all that. But yes, to the major focus of the day, which is about Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Before I go through the comments as I wind up, is that we can see that these 3 countries are right now creating a strong military group for them to be able to fight the jihadists. So they're saying that Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso say that they will form a joint force to fight jihadists who threaten their country. And Niger's army chief, Moussa Salaou Barmou, announced it would be operational as soon as possible without giving details of its size. And he spoke in a televised speech on Wednesday following talks in the capital Niamey, and the groups linked to both Islamic State and al-Qaeda have killed thousands of people in the region for the past few years. The military regimes in the 3 countries have become increasingly close allies in recent months, as they should. Last September, they formed a mutual defense pact known as the Alliance of Sahel State, withdrawing from international force G5 that was set up to fight Islamists in the region. Indeed, violence in the West Africa Sahel region has worsened in the recent years, despite the military government's promises to deal with the decade-long conflict with the jihadist groups. And the 3 countries have all served their ties with France and the former colonial power, which for years had a strong military presence across the Sahel. The UN peacekeeping mission in Mali, MINSUMAS, if I'm pronouncing that correctly again, that had been in place for over a decade, was also ordered by the country's leaders to withdraw without delay, and completed the exit in December. The military regimes have strengthened their ties with Russia, which has moved in with fill the void, and they have not really to fill the void but to help. Listen to how the media the media is such a liar. These reporters and the writers, to fill the void. They're not filling no void. They're here to help. They're here to help. And that is how it should remain. You're not filling any void, replacing no French, no nothing. You are here to help. That's it. And that's it. Excuse me. They also add that they also have announced that they were leaving the West Africa Economic Bloc, that is ECOWAS, and they had already been suspended from the bloc, which has been arguing that the military regimes to ensure a quick return to democratic rule and impose travel and economic sanctions on them. Some of the sanctions were last month lifted or eased as ECOWAS put for a dialogue. And that is what is happening in Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. And I pray and I want them to continue without stopping. They should just continue. Don't look back. no turning back, keep on moving. That is how it should be. But I also see as I get to wind up, Strength says, exactly, I'm working on improving myself, and that's where it leads. Exactly, Manze. You should. He also saying that Tinibu, wild man, he is wild. He also CJ Bajaba says that only a puppet can get busted for coke distribution in the US and become a president of Nigeria. I mean, and only in Africa. I mean, it's only in Africa where we can do this as well. We're not doing research of the people we're even selecting. You know, we just see them on the ballot papers. We're not even doing research. What's the history of this man? I believe actually there should be some background research done on the history of these people. But nobody. I mean, who is there to do it? We're waiting on the US, the UN, the AU to do it? Shit. I also see you saying that they love seeing the Nigerians scratch and beg. They can't concentrate on unity. I mean, and also the Nigerian themselves. Shout out to my neighbor. I also see you saying that I'm gonna catch the rest of the show later. You have to go to bed, and you have a great day, great show. Thank you so much for tuning in, Jibat. That is a strength. I appreciate you so much, and of course, I hope you have subscribed to be part of the family. And thank you so much for also contributing on the conversation. I see Blaze Strike, you're saying just in time. Yes, Karibu Sana, but again, I'm coming to the end of the conversation. Jibadaba was saying that I'm 53, never sunburn or seen a black person with it. I work outside all day. Total bullshit. I know that's right. And you're also saying that only red bone mulattoes get it. Exactly. And I also see you saying that same here. We only use coconut oil. Period. And I also see you saying that formaldehyde, it's embalming fluid. Okay. And I also see formula dehyde. Okay, I think you're trying to pronounce that for me. Formaldehyde. I can't read that. Sounds Jamaican. And I also see you saying that those salon products contain ammonia and alcohol, ends the headache. My girl stopped using them. That is nice. I'm glad she did, because personally I had to learn that on my own. I didn't know, because it was pressing. Like, you feel not a normal headache, you feel some pressing pain, you know. It is not nice. And also see you saying that henna is effective natural dye. I know that's right. My mom used to use henna a lot. Henna is natural. I don't know if it is effective, but it is not. My mom used to use henna a lot. Yeah. And also saying for the gray hairs, henna. Yeah, okay. Yeah, henna is nice. Personally, I'd recommend henna than the chemical dyes and all that, which are very dangerous. But anyway, family, it's been an hour, almost 30 minutes right here. It's been an amazing conversation. Hope you guys have enjoyed this with me, and I wish you guys nothing but just an amazing rest part of your day. Remember to come back later. We shall be in on the Black Kings frequency, and of course, Kamlesh is coming back on the network. It shall be on the Mevo and also on TikTok. To all our TikTok fans, come in, and of course, let's see which music makes it to the top one. I want to see also which song makes it to the top one. Shout out to Robert Williams, grand rising to you too. But I'm coming to the end of the conversation. I hope you are here, but if you are not, kindly catch the rest of the show on a replay that is on YouTube, on Rumble, and also on Spotify. Have an amazing rest part of your day. It's been an amazing conversation, and of course, I hope you guys have the rest part of your day enjoyed.
All the way in Switzerland, and you're tuning into the Black House Fire Radio, and you're listening to Yes Man Say Wagwan, Andrew Robinson, your Jamaican brother there, reaching out to all the massive of the African continent, and you're tuning into the African Bliss Show with your host, none other than Joe.
I was born in the ghetto.
Yeah, shout out to yeah.
Still at home. Give me love ghetto. I was born in the ghetto. I was fighting with these bitches and still at
Shout out to Keith in the building. Yes, you are late, but kindly catch the rest of the show on a replay. It's been an amazing one. I've had amazing discussion right here. Catch the rest of the show on YouTube on a replay.
We go tamer for that paper. I so bad that the Undertaker. Fuck that hater. I don't